Welcome back to this week's lesson, and we're going to continue working with our foundation. And last class, we were able to get all the footers, foundation walls. We got the concrete in the concrete floor in our garage and on top of our porches. So now let's go in and let's put this on a drawing. All right, we're going to do a foundation plan. And what I want to do is I want to go to the bottom of footer because it shows the best detail. And there's some stuff sometimes that gets hid, as you can see, like this, or is brought into different levels. Like for some reason this countertop, just click on it and hide your element. I'm just going to hide category, probably a little easier. Cleans all that up pretty good. Here's an opening. I want to hide all those, hide your category on that. I'm going to go here and hide my garage door. Hide element. Alright. Those things look pretty good. Okay, so that's right. That was 2 block high. Then it drops down a block right there. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to hide this concrete pad. Hide element. Right. This here looks a little weird, so I need to go in there and see what's going on with it on my west side. Okay, let's go to our west elevation and we'll be able to do a little repair work to it. And I want to hide a few things. I want to hide these walls so I can see what's going on. Let's hide this garage door. And it looks like to me I want to hide this background here too. I like to be able to hide stuff so I can see what's going on. And I accidentally probably hid something. I need it right there. Here's our wall. Here's our floor. So I'm going to back up. I must have hid. Yeah, this is what I want. Actually, I can see what's going on for some reason when I didn't edit the last time. This right here should come all the way down to here. That should delete out. That should delete out. This should just come right across to right there. And then this right here should come straight down to right there. Let's see if that looks a little better. And then bottom of footer. That looks a lot better. Alright, now let's get on in here and let's do a little bit more work to this thing. We're going to put this on a sheet, but before I do, I want to start putting in some dimensions. Now remember, when you're dimensioning anything concrete, you're going to dimension from edge to edge instead of center of the walls. And just go up here and annotate, hit your align button, and start over here. And I want to catch from there to there to there. Catch another one from there all the way across to there. Alright, that would be our footers. I pull those up just a fuzz. And I'm going to go in here now and I want to grab my wall. And we'll do outside to outside measurement on it. 30. I pull it up. And then I'm going to do another alignment from there to there. And I don't want to cross my dimension line. I'll just bring this one down just a little bit. Bringing them outside just like that. Okay, looking pretty good. Now I'm just going my sides here, and we'll get those. We'll go go ahead and get these walls done first. All the way down through there like that. There we go. And that's from that point. That's to that point. And we're going to the inside, so I'll put this one to the inside. And we'll put that one to the inside as well. Off that point. Line up. Catch this point. And we'll catch this point right there. Bring that out. Looks good. I wanted somewhere here, I want to put me a dimension to show the thickness of that footer. We've also got to do a little detail here in just a few minutes. So there we go. There's that. And you just continue to go around this thing and put your dimensions in. And remember, you got to eyeball the spacing from your dimensions where they start to the wall here, or the object. Usually it's about 1.5 inches away from the drawing. You just got to think about that and try to visualize it whenever you print it. And also we'll go from here all the way over to here. Outside to outside on this one. It's 50. And then I want to do another alignment. I'm going to catch this point to this point, bring it down, and then line those up nice and neat. Looks good. Then you can do an overall footer length to help the contractor out a little bit. And anything you can think in here that could be beneficial, that doesn't overcrowd or make everything look terrible, you can go ahead and put it in there. I'll bring that out. I'm just going to go to the outside edge. That'll be okay. Alrighty. Then there's these little spaces in here that I want to make sure that I get to. Pull that out. Align. From there. Actually, annotate from a line. You're going to go from there to there, to there, to there, to there, and bring them in. Grab this one. You can kind of pull that little tail over there just a little bit. It doesn't make it so silly looking. And there we go. And then you can do just an overall of this. I don't really care for the way I've got this set up, so I want to go back and delete this one out, and I want to pull this one up. I like that a little better. And I think that right there will be sufficient because we've got the footer size. And it's looking really good, now, we'll come back in here and we've got to have section views, which we'll do later on. But we're going right here, I want to type in a text. This will be fill dirt inside of that. Up to where we're going to put that concrete pad, and we'll have section views to show exactly how high that stuff is. And of course, click this and do a copy, and we're going to put one straight up to right up here. Alright. There's also going to, now this right here won't be fill dirt. This will actually be a part of the structure. Now, after we get all this in here, got a few dimensions, we need to make sure we dimension these piers. And they're equally spaced, so we're going to go right there, right there. We're going to catch the centers of all of them. We'll bring them straight over there, and so little bit off on this. So I want to click on it, hit equal. Hit equal again, and it puts them all at the same exact distance apart. 4 foot, 2 and 11/32. That's kind of a very, very weird number. You'll never see 11/32 accuracy in this, but that's exactly the equal space of those. So we'll let it ride. Also, we need to put where these things are going to be located from at least one wall over. We'll go from this wall to here, right there. And this will be the center location of those off of this wall. And I want to go to the outside of this, just like that, 16 foot to the center of it. And there's going to be a girder coming across here, and I want to go ahead and put that in there. And to do that, come up here to Annotate, Detail Line, and I want to put a center line in right over here. Center line. I want to find the center of this thing, and I want to put me a center line right there. It's going to represent a girder that's going to come across this thing. It's just going to sit right there on top of these foundation walls. It's going to lay right on top of these double CMU blocks as our piers, and I just got to label it. So come up here to Text and hit your this with the leader line and click on that and put I'm going to put 4. Since this is a 2-story, I'm going to put 4 of them. 4 2 by 10 girders. 2 by 10 girders. They'll be laminated together. They'll be screwed together and glued up, and they'll be made right there on the site. Now, we've got to figure out, the person that's wanting this house built wants to use 2 by 10 floors with 3/4 inch, well, basically 3/4 inch Advantech type of flooring. So what I've got to do is I've got to figure out exactly what grade of 2 by 10s can span this 16-foot gap here. And if I come to the other side, let's check it out. Let's see how far what a span it is. It's 14 foot. So we'll use whatever is the longest. We'll use that grade of lumber. And we know really quick the span is going to be going from here to here. So we need to figure out what the spacing of the floor joist is. Also, what grade of lumber they need to buy. So what I'm going to do is I want to minimize this drawing. And over here, I've got it on Blackboard for you. Floor joist span and common lumber species. And what we're going to do is we got to find 2 by 10, and that's going to be able to reach 16 foot, and how far the spacing. Now, I want to use, this is 30 pounds per square foot, and the dead load is 20 pounds per square foot. And what I do is I want to use out of this column here the 20 PSF, and the live load is 30 PSF. So that should be sufficient for this 2-story home. It's just a residential structure. I think it'd be just fine. Here's a 2 by 10, and if you look to the left-hand side of it, you have 12-inch spacing, 16-inch spacing, and I think it's got the 19.2 and the 24. So what's common most of the time you see is 16-inch spacing, and that's what most construction teams like to use. That's what they're accustomed to. So I want to take real quick, and we're going to use southern pine. That's what's most readily available in this area. I want to take and look right up here. Here's 2 by 10, and there's all kinds. You could do a southern pine. If you want to do 12-inch on center, it can go 20 foot. That's a SS grade. Number 1 grade is 20, can span 20 foot. Number 2 grade can span 18 foot 7. Number 3 grade can span 14 foot. let's go on down here to the 16 on center. This is the 2x10s up here. And I'll slide down here. Southern Pine SS can go 18'9" without any support. 1711, 16-1. Right here, we can go with Southern Pine number 2 grade, 16'1". It can span, and that is a number 2 grade at 16 on center. So that's what we're going to use. That's how you use this chart. So I want to come over here now. Come back in to annotate and do a text. I want to write it right here. I want to do 2 by 10 by, and you buy lumber in 2-foot sections, 16 foot, 2 by 10 by 16 foot at 16 inches O.C. And that was number 2 grade, Southern Pine. Alright, and then I'll take and clean it up, make it look real nice and neat, centered up. And then I want to take and I want to rotate it around. Click on this, rotate it around. It will put it running just like this. And I want to put me annotate detail line. There is a span button on this software. Go back to regular lines. And I'll go, oh, I don't want to use lines. That's for green for some reason. I'll do thin lines. And I'm just going to just draw this in. And that just that's the way it's spanning. All right. And I would use the same thing over on this side. You could probably go with a little 14 foot. No, we'd have to use the number 2 on that. So I just grab this whole thing here and do a copy. And I'd bring it over to this side. And we might have to kind of, well, it's on 316 room name, so we need to find a 1/4 inch. Or not a 1/4 inch, I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch. And it will fit a little better. Click on that. Let's see if we've got an 1/8 of an inch. Well, that's close to it. And I want to fix that. I don't like that. Duplicate, and I'm going to call this one an 1/8 of an inch. Text. Hit OK on that. And it should be Stylus BT should be the font. And text size is 0.125 inch. Okay. That looks better. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. And then we're going to take and we'll grab this and we'll copy it down. And we'll have to do a little work on it, of course. Just pull that down. Pull that span down a little bit. Grab that, just do a copy on it. That top there. Copy. There. Should have done a move instead of a copy. Delete those out. So you got that all taken care of. That is perfect. Now come over here and to this side, and we need to find out now from here to there. It says 5'7" and 5/8 right there, and it starts another block wall. And we need to find out what the span is. And of course, you'll have your header boards or your band boards going around the sides. It'll cut it down a little bit. So 6'3 1/4, all the way to there. So you take 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches off both sides because of those band boards. And man, it's going to be a 1/4 of an inch off. You could probably get by with a 6-foot board there. It would be really, really close. Really close. So just go here and text and bring this over. Just do a copy. Rotate that around. Just like that. And you probably don't have to have a number 2 grade on that. And you don't need a 16-foot. Down here, I forgot to do that too, is you don't need a 16-foot. I got, you can, 14-footers are not common, but it'd save you some money if you can get some ordered. And up here, I think we could go with the 6-footer on this one. I think we'd be okay. And then, I mean, if you wanted to go back and look at your chart, 16 on center, Southern Pine, you could probably go with a grade 3. Oh yeah, you could go with a grade 3 on that to save you some money. I don't like going any less than a grade 2, but such a short span, it's just 6 foot. I think you'll be just fine with that. Just fine. All right. And then make sure you put your span directions, which it would be evident, but still you want to have everything cleared up. That way there's no questions. Okay? So that takes care of that. That one's a little bit too long. So there, that's all taken care of, and everything is measured out. The only thing we need to do now is to measure and those things are on 5-foot centers. I'll go all the way to the outside edge of that, and that would be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little detail work on this. So those are 2'6", which is 30 inches, and we could do it like that. Probably best because they're all the same exact size. And we could just come up here and put, write a note. I need to switch that back over here to that 1/8 inch text. Isolated footer. And I want to put check section view. Okay. That way they can look at the section view that's for that specifically and be able to see exactly what that would look like. And I'll double click that again. I'm going to put 3 times isolated footer. Now these are exactly the same thing over here. We could put a note on those as well. Click on this and I'll put, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. 6 times. There are 2, 8 by 8 by 16 CMU, and CMU on if I can write it in here, on 30 by 30 by 1 foot isolated footers. Perfect. All right. Alright, so we've got that saved. I want to hit save on this. I always like to save and save often. I had a little error there, so I'm just going to resave this one as, this is week 8. I'm just going to call this one Foundation Plan. Okay, save it. Now there's a couple other things. You can leave that with this concrete. Now most plans, they have those, looks like hidden lines representing your footer. And if you want to put those on there, this is the way that you would do it. You can come up here to Annotate, Detail Line, and come in here and find yourself a hidden line, and you just start going around this thing and follow it, just like that. And what you're doing is you're putting a hidden line, and then when we get done, we'll just hide. Sorry about that loud noise with this thing. And we'll hide that footer. And only thing you'll see is those hidden lines representing your foundation. Or your footer, I'm sorry. It takes just a few minutes to do this. It doesn't take long. And come over here, we'll do these. We need to put in too, these posts. If you'll notice, we don't have a footer over here on this one, so I want to make sure I put my footer in. Structure, footer, is that 20? Click on that. Got us a footer in there. And we should have a footer on this one as well. Let's go back at Annotate Detail. We'll go ahead and put these lines around here. Can't remember if I put those in yet or not. And I'm just going to take and hide. Alright, that's going around through there. I want to hide these footers. Hide the category. And you see now how you've got, this is what it would look like on a print. I didn't get those, so I want to reset temporary. Come in here and I'll check that out and see what's going on with that. But anyways, it should be right there, going to there, to there, to there, there. And let's see, grab that footer, and we're going to do a hide category, and this is what it would look like. And we got to hide the category on that stuff that popped back in there. All right. There's a wall we got to hide. Hide element. Hide element. Hide your garage doors. And there you go. And there's your basic foundation plan for this, and we got to make sure we got to put our dimensions back into this. We could do it like this, probably a lot easier. And I can go from I can go from the inside or the outside, whichever way. We get those put in there. And I guess where we hid that footer, those dimensions went away, so we need to go back in and touch those up. It would take just a second. Set that right back on that. Then we'll put this one back in there again. And then we didn't get that in here, so you'd have to go back there and annotate detail line, and of course we'd have to bring that back in, so I'm just going to take this and follow it down. Don't know exactly for sure, but I could do this, take and just mirror it across, so I know it'd be exactly in the right spot, and I could line it up like that. And then do the same thing right here. I tell you, this program is so nice. It makes things so much easier in designing. And just that quick, we've got all of our foundations in. And now, basically, you know you've already done this, but I'm going to make a new sheet down here, and I'm going to put it on a sheet. And this is on a 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. It's perfect. You got your first sheet. Your second sheet was your floor plan along with your door schedule, window schedule. I'm just going to right click on top of sheets, new sheet, and I want to go to D size paper. Hit OK. And this one, I'm just going to go ahead and right click on this. And I want to rename this one as Foundation First Floor Frame Plan. Okay. Right on top of that A103, right click and just rename, or not rename it, sorry about that. Right click on it and add view. And go in there, and we use the bottom of footer. Now you can also change that, and we could duplicate it, and it probably would be the better idea, and we'll do that on our next drawing, and then we could actually call it a name that we wanted. The bottom of footer is okay for right now. We'll put that in there. There's our bottom of footer. And when I come down here to add view, make sure we find that bottom of footer. That's structural plans. I want to be in floor plans. Add view. And this is exactly what we just got done drawing up. And right there it is. Now you got to remember, if you close out of this and reopen this, everything that we had hid out of this will come straight back into it, and you'll have to hide it again if you want to print. That's really simple to do. I'll pull that back in. And this bottom of footer, we could actually change the name of that. You can rename it to Foundation Plan. What I would rather do is take, instead of this being the bottom of footer, this needs to be the Foundation Plan, and we've got one here. Must have made that sometime. I'm going to delete it and I'll show you how to do it. If you right click on the bottom of footer, I want to duplicate view with the detailing, and I want to call it, see how this bottom of footer copy one, I want to right click it and rename, and I'm going to call this one Foundation and First Floor Framing Plan. And hit OK on that. And now I'll come back down here to, and this one was bottom of footer. I want to take and delete that image off. So I just back up, delete, and then now I want to add that view in that I just created right here, floor plan. It's exactly the same thing. We just duplicated it. Instead of it saying bottom of footer, it's going to say foundation and first floor framing plan. So that way I don't mess anything up as far as my levels or being very confusing to someone that's working with the drawings that's building this house. So that's basically how you put your foundation plan in.